Hello everyone, good morning. I think we are going to start because the last attendees joined. So first of all, thank you very much for attending this Q&A session. Just before we start, I'm going to introduce myself. I'm Delphine Qual. I've been working for Bonita for the last 6 years. And after 5 years as a customer success, so being close from the product and the customer's needs and the project, I chose to join the adoption team as an evangelist to make sure we could talk about all the subjects that are worrying our customers with all the needs they have, all the development options that the developers are taking, and all the possibilities offered by Bonita Soft and Bonita platform. Just before we start, I had already collected some of your questions after the email we sent, because some of you filled in forms. So I am going to answer those questions and then answer yours. You can ask your questions using the GoToWebinar question section, and I will answer live to everybody. Okay, so if we start, I had a question from someone who wrote it in the form, being curious to know if in the design we made for adaptative case management, if it was possible to come back on optional tasks. So what I would say is that as long as the case is not closed, it's not ended, you have the ability to come back as much as you want on those optional tasks. Why? If you want, I can show you my screen. So let me share my screen. You will see the studio. So here is Bonita Studio. You can see that you have tasks that are structured, part of a process. And you can see here you have tasks, and we chose to put them as unstructured tasks, which means you don't have a start or an end event, and they have a multi-instantiation design as a loop, which means that each time the task is performed, the state will change to done. So you can come back, do another task, but you can come and do it again, because due to the fact that it is a loop, it will go back to its initial state. Okay, another question is about the case status and when the case is done. You're right, here we don't see any start event nor end event. So the question is, when is my case resolved? You can see here that you have a task called resolve, which is within the BPM schema, and this task will change the status as resolved in the task. So all other tasks won't be accessible anymore. So I will jump into the next question because it is linked to this one. Someone asked me about the state of the tasks, because this person wanted to know if a task in not available, NA, could be available, when it could be available, and how it worked. So you have different status. Those status are stated by something, a local variable, which will be on the task. So for example, if I have call customer, I have here a local variable called activity states. You can see that the default value will be discretionary here, because this one is optional. If I go to investigate transaction, you can see that the activity stage, which is the local variable as well, has a default value required, which means that as long as this task has not been performed, the other tasks here in this schema will be on non-available state. As long as this one is done, it will release the other task and they will go to the default states, which is required. I hope this is clear. I have a question about actors. So, can a task be done by multiple actors on a case? So yes, for this behavior with roles, profiles, and actors will remain the same, which means that you can have an actor doing a task. It can be an optional task, it can be a required task, and you can have another actor adding a comment on this task. This won't change. It's exactly the same behavior as a normal, I would say, normal BPM process with Bonita. Okay. I have a question about the cohabitation between case management and BPM and process. So what do you mean? Okay. For example, if you start a process using a standard BPM and schema, then you want to add flexibility and have optional task. Okay, so that's what you have here designed. The only difference is that you don't have start or end events. I mean, here you could have a start event and an end event here. This would be your actual standard design for your BPM process. So imagine you start like that. You have an instantiation form here. So for example, if I go back to the pool, you can see that in the execution, I have an instantiation form defined, which will be defined in the UI designer. So as you can see, you can start as every processes you have. And then in your way to design it, you will add specific tasks that are optional, that are looping, and where you will add something specific, because that's where you will be able to mix BPM processes and case management is by using event handlers. So just for you to know, the event handler is only available in Enterprise Edition, and it is stored in your project here as a REST API extension. And this event handler will define rules and options where you are going to start an action and start a task. So this event handler is linked to each task, and when you have a certain event or certain option, a certain state, you will be able to perform a task. I hope it answers the question. I have a question about the roadmap. Well, actually, we are currently we are still working on that. We work on this first phase of adaptive case management with Bonita last year. Now our product team is working on a second phase to make sure that it will be integrated and easier to display and to code, because for the time being you have to code, and we would like to really integrate this low code approach. So I guess that we are going to see improvements and new features in our roadmap for this year. I would say at the latest by the end of the year. Okay, someone is asking me if we have examples for this process for this example, and if we have both available, actually, as this for both reasons, the fact is that we are still working on it, so it's changing every time. We are in a constant evolution and improvement, and as it's working on enterprise solution only, we are going to deliver it and make it available for customers when they need it. So I would say, if you are a customer and you need it, please ask your customer success representative, and we will see case by case what can be done to provide you with this example. If I am going to wait until well, 2 minutes more, and if you don't have other question, I still have a last question from a customer. So this customer was asking if he had to perform developments, external developments, to build the user interface. Actually, not everything is available in UI Designer and the portal. We are going to use the Living App concept with profiles, with fragments, to make sure that it is reusable. And what we have done, let me show here. We have created pages, for example, a page with a case list where you can create a new case, where you can search for the customer account, and then you have the list of case. So it's a summary of all your cases. We have also created a kind of a summary page where you can see the case history using a custom widget timeline that is based on the overview case you can have by default in Bonita portal. You can see the commands. So where you are going to perform a task and add a command, for example, you will see the history and all the commands listed here. Same for the documents. You can see here a fragment we added, which is create activity, where you can find the name, the description with the data. Then just let me show you the custom widget we created. We created a specific data table to list all the elements, and we created this button, which is an assign and execute button. Why? Because you want to make sure that if you do a task, a specific task, and especially an optional task, it will be automatically assigned to you and not to another actor. So this button will do at the same time the assignment to the right user and the execution of the task. So if I would sum up, the concept is based on two main things that are the event handler and the status figured out by the local variable activity states, which are going to add constraints to the disposal and the availability of tasks. And the event handler will make sure that you are going to be able to perform tasks depending on options, on rules, without being obliged to have the task before that is performed before yours. So you have part of structured and unstructured tasks, and this is the way. This is an easy way to make sure that, for example, if you can plan things in your project, you use the BPM part. If there are things that are not predictable, you will add unstructured tasks and events to make sure that you can do them and be close to the reality of your project. Do you have other questions? Okay, I think we don't have any other questions, so I am going to end this Q&A session. I hope it was useful for everyone, and I would like to thank you very much for your for you to attend this session. The recording will be available soon. Thank you and have a good day. Bye bye.